So I'm going to show you today how artists do linocuts. So it is a form of printmaking where the artist takes a block like this out of linoleum or rubber or whatever material they choose. And it's a material that's a little bit soft that they can cut away some of the material. So here's a finished one. So this is one where I've already cut away some of the material to make my printing block. And then I'll show you how it's done on this one. So what the artist does is they would draw their design on a printing block if they choose, or they could just go right to cutting, depends how good of an artist they are. I had to draw mine first. So I drew my design that I want to print. And then I'm going to use these tools. So these are called Linocut tools. And they're little sharp, they have sharp points that will cut away some of the linoleum. And so there's different sizes. There's like a fine tip all the way to a wider tip. So I'm going to use kind of this fine tip, not all the way fine. And I'm going to put it in my cutter, my handle here. So I'm going to tighten this into my handle. So now I'm going to use this sharp tip right here to cut away the material. So anywhere that I cut is where the ink is not going to show up when you print it. So anything that's cut out does not show up. So I will just show you how I'm going to cut away the material. So here I have some ink, and I'm going to pick up some ink with this. It's called a brayer, and the brayer rolls the paint. So I'm getting the right amount of ink on my brayer, and then I'm going to roll the ink onto the block. And you can see how the ink is sticking to the block, but the places that I carved out are not getting ink on them because they've been cut away. So I'm going to get all the edges of my block. And so this is how it's going to print. So now the ink is all on my block, and I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to set it on top of the block. And then I'm going to use a clean brayer. This one does not have paint on it, and I'm going to roll it all along my printing plate. I want to make sure I get the entire surface so that all that ink is going to transfer. And then I'm going to pull my print off. And I have the print on my paper. So I could go back if I wanted and maybe fix some places that I felt like needed to be carved more. Or on this one, I actually can see, oh, I should have put a little bit more ink. So some places where maybe I didn't put the ink in them. So let's do another print. So the artist can do lots of prints using this same printing block. And then let's pull off the next print. Oh, and that one worked a lot better. So that is how an artist would use a Linocut method to get a print. And I'll show you another one real quickly. So this is my lino block that I cut earlier. This one took me longer because I decided I wanted to cut quite a bit more space out that wouldn't show up. And again, so I'm going to pick up ink with my brayer, and you rub it on this nice flat surface so you don't get lots of globs of paint on the brayer. You want it to be nice and smooth. And then I'm going to pull it off. So that is how an artist uses linoleum blocks to make a Linocut print.